Okay, hi guys. Kind of have a hot dog shape going. That works. We are going to start today with a quick check-in. I'll get everybody to go around, so let me know how you're doing. If there's any questions about anything we talked about so far, any questions about safety or confidentiality. Anyone who wants to start? You're all good? It's a nod, mouthful of food, Addison's good.
I felt good, I felt optimistic because we're done. Like last day, I'm kind of excited to get back. I feel like we kind of accomplished something too, like getting through it, because I was like, didn't 10 days seem like it was going to be a long time, and I'm like, wow, we're done.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, made it.
I'm feeling optimistic.
Yep.
And I guess up for whatever the group has planned.
Perfect. Here, you're good? Yeah? Okay, so we're going to start. Who is going to be the starting person? Let's determine that before you know what you have to do to start. We're going to play a game. Okay, Kate's going to start.
I'm going to dress them, so I apologize.
That's okay. No, you're not. We're actually not moving at all. How it works is we're going to go clockwise.
Okay.
Starts with you. The point of the game is you are out. You're eliminated from the game if you laugh.
Oh, God.
Or if you can't control your emotions, like if you start like snickering or you know what I mean, a smile is okay.
So bad.
So here's how
There's
it
no
works.
point starting.
it goes until there's one person left standing. First person goes and just says ha. Second person has to say ha ha. Third, ha ha ha. So every single time you add another ha until somebody, and it doesn't have to be your turn. If anybody laughs or anybody starts to bubble up, then they're eliminated. And then
I'm already laughing.
Yeah, and then we start over with whoever it was last on, and they get to start with one half all over again. So we're basically laughing at each other back and forth, and try not to actually laugh.
Smile though, like
You try not to smile. I will like.
I can't not smile.
If you're like really trying, you're not gonna be eliminated. But no, you're not. Thank you for asking so many questions to clarify. You're not allowed to hide your smile.
Okay.
Okay.
Ha. Ha ha.
Now Addison will go next and say 3 has.
Ha, ha, ha.
Robin is eliminated.
Yeah, I don't even think it one round.
That was super cute. Okay, now it starts with 1 ha. Add.
Ha.
Ha ha.
Ha 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 ha.
Ha, 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 ha.
ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha.
I'm trying to be smart. I was holding it on.
This is scarily calm at this game.
This is really competitive.
I want to say it with like a funny voice to try to trip my down. I have a really scary funny voice. Do I pull it out?
Okay. That's nice.
Maybe I will. Addison starts with 1. Ha ha ha.
You didn't even do it right.
She technically kind of did ha ha ha. Okay, starts with Addison with 1.
Ha ha.
I think you're at 6. I might be wrong. Okay. Starts with Addison. Because it was her turn, so it would have been your turn next, but Kaden laughed.
Get up.
Just stay down. Okay, Addison starts.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready. No, I'm not ready.
I can't do this. I'm surprised it lasted this long.
Okay. I'm ready. Haha. Ha, 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 ha. Maybe this came
Ha 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 ha.
out.
Just
Can't do this.
I had a feeling that was gonna get us. Okay. I've never
That's like
played.
a belly game. You're
Yeah.
laying your head on someone's stomach or back, and then they laugh. You have to try not to laugh. But as soon as one person starts laughing,
You all start
everyone
laughing.
starts laughing.
Yeah, that was a new game I hadn't seen it done before, so thank you for kind of testing it out with me.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I thought you guys
Oh, Addison definitely was gonna win that. I could
It
tell
was
by how
great.
he had no emotion. He was ready. Yeah. So thank you. Fun little something to get us laughing a little bit before we started. And now I wanted to talk about how we feel about where we are at with our self-esteem and how we feel about where we want to be with our self-esteem. And when I ask that, I wanted just to take maybe 30 seconds to a minute of just sitting here in silence and kind of having a little bit of time to reflect on that question before we share. There's no pressure for anybody to share. And then we're going to be going into an activity to sort of talk. We had a lot of discussion about goals, or not goals, sorry, we're going to be talking about some goals. We brainstormed lots of different ways that we can work on our self-esteem, different self-esteem building activities. So now I want to talk about how we're going to implement, or how we could implement that into our everyday life, and what we would need to do to support ourselves to actually reach those goals. So that's what we're going to work on today. And the activity we do is going to be helping to go towards that. But before we start that, I think we kind of need to have an idea of where we feel about where we're at and where we feel we want to be. So I'll give a couple moments right now to think, and then we will regroup, and if anyone wishes to share, they can. You guys having a hard time with that as a critic pepper?
And I just like a rare Robin to try not to laugh. Always laughing. You laugh with you.
Yeah. Oh, they popped up on my
crunch
computer.
and silence.
Yeah. So we tried for some silence. Did everyone have a little bit of time at least to kind of think about how they would want to answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, so this is totally, you don't need to share with the group if you don't want to, but if anyone does have any thoughts about where they feel they're at with their self-esteem and where they want it to be, feel free to take the floor. Yep.
For a long time, I would say I had extremely low self-esteem. Just, I think, of my environment was very supportive, and I didn't feel like I fit in very well or ever growing up. But now, as an adult, I kind of embrace the fact that I'm just weird. And I like weird things, and I do weird things, and I'm okay with it. I think because of the field I'm in, like, even entering first year, I was like, this isn't for me. But it seems like every place I go, like, it's more and more okay to be myself, which is cool.
Awesome. Sounds like you're learning to accept yourself.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
There's always room to grow there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
You kind of planned in mind that, like, it's an ongoing process that I think is a lifelong process, kind of like lifelong learning. I think that, I don't know what class it was, they said if you had an A, it meant there was no room, or A plus, there was no room for growth. So I think that's always putting yourself in like the B plus, A minus range of like, feel good, but there's always work that can be done. And there's, I think as you get older, you kind of see things in a different way too, that, you know, what you were saying, like, you know, comparing yourselves or feeling like you didn't fit in or whatever. Sometimes nobody was thinking that. It was, we assume people are thinking these things. So I think two things is, one is surround yourself with the right people and not, like, in high school you're forced to be with a bunch of people. There's just no choice. And it's hard because there is a lot of judgment. They might not be your people. But as you get older, you choose who you surround yourself with, and hopefully surrounding yourself with people who build you up.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a big difference. And you just, I don't know, as I get older, I just don't care. I don't care what people think the way I did. And that also made a big
Awesome. I heard a lot of mm-hms when it just came to the idea that self-esteem is sometimes based on what we think other people think.
And maybe they do.
And yeah, and maybe that's just what you think they think.
I keep in my mind too, what people think about you is none of your business.
Yeah, awesome quote.
Yeah.
And what you were also saying too about how you want to be at that CB, you never want to be perfect. You always want to have room for improvement. That reminds me of what Janet White said something last week. What did you say? The only time you want to be perfect is when you're on your deathbed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was basing it on. I knew I heard it somewhere here.
Yeah, awesome. I like how you brought it back to that. That was a quote that stood out to me that she shared.
I think for me, it's language around like confidence and how people portray their confidence. And I think confidence speaks more to self-esteem because you can have the tiniest girl like modeling and she can be the one who less confident than, you know, a full-size figured, beautiful woman that is very confident in her skin, and you can totally tell how much that is admired, I guess. So, like, it took me a long time to be confident in my own self, and it's still a work in progress to have that, not have that self-talk.
I'm hearing a theme about how it's a process. And also like how you mentioned that it doesn't matter, one way you look at it is it doesn't matter, or doesn't appear to matter how anybody looks or who someone is. Everybody can have struggles with self-esteem, no matter who they are. Awesome. Thank you, Kimmy.
I think for me, my problems with self-esteem have always come from myself and not from what other people think. And it's more just like fake it till you make it with confidence and with like trying to like give myself compliments, like how we were doing before. Because I think a lot of my stress or anxiety might come from worrying about what other people think, but my self-esteem is more like trying to retrain that voice in my head to say nice things or calling it out when it's like, hey, I do not deserve this. Like, I have actually done a pretty good job, or I should be confident about this thing or whatever.
Self-compassion.
But I agree with the journey and work in progress for sure.
Good enough, like you talked about as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what was said. I think that this year has been really interesting for me because it's been like a year of transition and coming back to school. There have been a few instances of, I guess, like having my own distorted perception of myself being changed in ways. I'm still trying to like reconcile those things, and I'm very quick to get down on myself. So it's a process.
Do you guys find that over time, since we are older, especially from when we were teenagers, you're quicker to pick up on when you get harder on yourselves?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like an example for myself is something that I did started last year was like having photo shoots.
Yeah.
And in a million years I would never do that for myself. But and then I have a photo shoot coming up in the next week and a half, and I'm kind of like judging me like, oh, why aren't you working out? Oh, why aren't you eating healthy? I'm like, because I'm fucking I'm comfortable with who I am. I don't wear
Because I don't like to sweat.
Yeah. Actually, like it's
Yeah.
something for myself, and if I feel comfortable with myself right now, then that's gonna speak through my photos more than anything else
Yes.
that I feel.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like something you might relate to this too, is just when you feel like you're confident, then you have kids, and then you have insecurities based on them. So like if my kids aren't doing well, is it because I'm not doing a good enough job? So it's a funny, like life has a funny cycle of like,
Yeah.
just when I'm getting to a good place, now I'm like starting all over because if they, like you feel judged by other parents or whether your kid, so there's a whole other piece that's kind of come into play that blindsided me. Pardon?
Said my poor mother.
Yeah, like it, you know, like you just always feel like if everyone's kid, like if all the babies aren't crying and your kid is hysterical, are they doing a better job? So now you have a new comparison, not as a person, but as a parent. And I don't know if you faced that, but that really blindsided me.
Yeah.
And that's still work in progress too.
That was a big piece, is not comparing.
Yeah.
You're your own entity. You're never going to be like anybody else. You're always going to be different. So like that self-compassion piece, it has a big thing for me personally with not comparing myself to others.
But when you have this background too, you're like, I should be good with kids. Like, why can't I do this?
Taking it back to Janet White, remember when she said, she made some comment too about having kids and you're totally blindsided when you're in the field. It has nothing to do with when you, it was a very humbling experience, I think was the way that she put it, from being able to come from the field and then have her own children.
It's very.
Yeah. All right, guys, so we've been talking about how self-esteem is a process, which I think is a great way to kind of go into the activity that we're going to do, which I borrowed. Nope, I'm setting up. It's actually kind of like a writing prompt thing. And when we do this, I'm going to give a couple different options for how everybody wants to do it, so you can kind of make it your own activity. I'm going to ask you guys, like, get your own piece of paper, get your own writing utensil. You can stay here with me and any other people who want to stay, and we can brainstorm together and work on it together. So we can stay here and we can brainstorm together, and we can work on it together if anybody wants to have that kind of supportive team environment for the brainstorming for this activity, or if you'd like to go off and somewhere else in the room and do it independently. If you'd rather go sit outside because it's a gorgeous day, we're going to give about 10 minutes to work on it, and then find your way back here. Or if people want to work on it together, we can. There is no pressure to share, but I will let you know that there is one part we are going to kind of bring or talk about together after. So this is called what I like to call the 30. 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 weeks. So the object of this activity is to think of one example for each, or a goal for each. What is a way that you can enhance or work on your self-esteem in the next 30 seconds? My example is I can compliment myself in the next 30 seconds. Bam. And that could do something for my self-esteem. What's something I can do that could take, it doesn't have to be like instantly right now, but just what's a self-esteem activity that could take 30 seconds that I can have in my back pocket when I need that boost? What is something that I could do that takes 30 minutes? My example is go for a walk. What is a goal I could have in 30 days? Maybe I want to try something new in the next 30 days. You guys are welcome to steal my ideas too and then make it more specific to you as well. What is a self-esteem goal I can have in 30 weeks? My idea I came up with was to be able to go on like a really tougher hike. And when we come back, we're going to look at if we have these kind of goals and we have these kind of things put into place, and this is where we want to go moving forward, just as ideas of something that maybe just looking forward, what you want to do. The 30-week one is one that if I want to go on a really long hike, maybe there's things I can do to help support myself in reaching these goals, or when am I going to use the 30-second one? When am I going to use the 30-minute one? And when are these things going to be relevant in my life? So those are the things we're going to be debriefing about afterwards, and I just wanted to be transparent with you guys beforehand about that, so you're kind of aware of what you want to share.
I have a question.
Any questions?
Are we brainstorming these specific things, or are we brainstorming something else?
It's just your guys's. Sorry. So you're just going to answer those 3 questions, or 4 questions, sorry. What's your 30-second activity, your 30-minute, your 30-day, your 30-week, if you were to come up with one right now. Like I said, you can go do it independently. If you need help thinking of someone, want to do it like a team, and kind of brainstorm and bounce ideas off of each other, we can work together. I'm going to be right here for that. We're going to reconvene. Maybe, do you guys need 10 minutes for that, or is this more than a 5-minute? What do you feel? 5 minutes? You guys have some good ideas for it already? We'll do 5. If anyone didn't think of any, then that's okay. But we're going to kind of focus on talking about where we can fit these into our lives and what we need to support ourselves to get our self-esteem goals done. So I will start with 5 minutes. That's 10:50 is when we're going to come back. You done? Yeah. Awesome. Oh, so you have just a really...
Turn on the ouch. Sorry. Yeah, apparently.
Mine does it too.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't like that feeling. What were you gonna say, sir?
I don't even know. That's a weird place to have something crack. It's like a scary place.
With seconds, minutes, days, weeks?
Yeah. So if you were to create a goal that you could accomplish for your self-esteem,
Okay, cool.
in each of those time frames, what would it be?
Gotcha. That carrot cake was nasty.
Was it? Where did you get it
Soggy
from?
mess, the library.
Where is the library?
Straight out. It's like where the fountain is.
there?
In the middle,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Right in
okay.
front of the fountain, there's like a giant building.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
The
it's not that
smell
far.
of this carpet is really bothering me.
It stinks.
I'm getting a headache from it.
I'm gonna go outside.
Yeah, I'm almost getting used to it. Okay, go get some fresh air if you're done. We're gonna come back at 10:50, so you still have 3 solid minutes.
Good Chloe's fine.
The whole way.
Thank you for letting me use your board.
Yeah. This is really
I can't figure out what this room smells like, but it smells like something that's very familiar to me.
Really? It's very mild to me. I don't have a very
It smells
good
like
nose.
grain. It smells like
Like what? Grain?
grain, like feed. Like
Yeah,
pig feed.
yeah.
It's pig feed. That's what it is. It's like pellets.
Yeah, okay. I
Yeah.
kind
I was trying to figure it out earlier. I'm like, why does this smell so familiar? But that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
totally like pellet dust.
Yeah.
My nose stuff.
Live on a farm.
Mine is always a
I'm
little
gonna go
bit
outside
soft.
with mine, so
We have.
I'll have your thing stuff recording.
Oh, it might be okay.
I'm gonna go outside for like. I'm just doing a little breathe.
We are still recording and we have 7 minutes left and I should be back in a minute. Then we're gonna wrap this up and that should be a perfect amount of time.
We're gonna go outside. Be outside and do some sun salutations and deep breathing exercises.
Yeah, stress of sitting down like on the floor cross-legged was starting to like make my joints hurt. Like in my hips in here, I felt like I kept having to like extend my leg or I want to like put my leg, like stretch them out just from sitting.
A really good exercise is actually to sit crisscross and then just try to like bend forward
Yeah.
a little bit.
I was sleeping on a futon too.
Yeah, that
Past a little bit. Actually, I found it more comfortable than the bed and I don't know why. Me and Jamie were switching
I going to go back to yoga.
to be in your own bed.
No, to yoga.
Oh, yoga. I thought you said my own bed. I
Yeah.
just heard what I wanted to hear.
It'll be easier now because I don't start till 9, but I get up at like 5:30 usually. Go down to the waterfront to do yoga.
Wow. I find that inspiring.
It's not that
I would-
exciting. I like get up and start like my messy side bun like over here, like bags under my eyes, with coffee, and like
Still, it takes a
my
lot
big
of.
old lady. But then by the time I'm done, I'm pretty good.
You need to give yourself more credit because I think people who get up in the morning and do anything are just amazing people.
Wait till you hear my goal.
Hi. We are just waiting for Robin and Kiri. They needed a break from the smell in the room from whatever they did to the carpet.
That's fine.
Yeah. And we're just stop drawing poop on the board.
I'm so good.
It's so happy though.
It's so happy poop. Yay.
Yeah, we'll go outside.
Yeah. And we still have 40 minutes before my time is up,
Cool.
right? Because we have to be back at the class at 1. Because we only have a half an hour lunch today.
So we're only doing 2. You're not gonna.
I'm doing one. Yeah.
No, she's doing one after. But we still have 40 minutes left of my time slot until 11:30, and then she would get 11:30 to 12:30, and then we have the half an hour
Mine's not
lunch.
gonna take long either. So, if
So
we
we
want
might
to
even
just-
get more of a lunch.
That's what I was gonna say.
If we start right away and we don't have
straight
another break.
outside and do it, then you guys have a longer lunch.
Yeah.
I asked what this was.
This I.
You don't have to say.
Is there an on the other side?
No, I sold T-shirts that said "Fuck off 2016" for a year.
That's awesome.
I like it. I had a picture of my cat.
I love Tattoo stories like that.
I was like, I really love my cat. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a bad life decision. I
I have some really interesting stories for my tattoos. This week's like, oh, a compass because you like to go traveling, and I'm just like,
Sure. That's what you
no,
want to
there's
say
some
for me.
stories. I'm not on video.
I like that. It's good.
I won't share those stories, but
What did you make for dinner? Was this it?
Yeah, I made lettuce wraps.
Oh.
Big hit.
oh
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, good.
Tacos?
Lettuce wraps.
Were they taco lettuce wraps?
They were like Thai,
Oh, yum.
Nice.
chili.
Instantly
I made those the other day.
So we're going to Addison's for dinner.
jealous.
You can come, but I won't be there.
It's so,
Perfect.
they're so easy.
If there's leftovers, that's fine.
They're so easy to make.
So yeah,
I need to
I just
do
can't
some
cook really.
different-
We'll come cook. We'll do.
I'm just excited to go home and my mom cooks for me every day. I'm such a baby. Yeah, she's really big on the whole family dinner every single date. Like, almost every single day, my dog will come and obviously bang by me and he'll cry and he'll scratch my leg. And I was like, well, I wonder why he goes to you. And she said every dinner, like 5 days a week at least when I sit down. Like it's the joke never gets old for her. Well, I wonder why he's going to bang to you, Paige.
When I go home, my mom's like, "Oh, so you're cooking today?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess, yeah." But she always wants the same things. That's okay. I make good green curry, Thai green curry. Yes. We'll have a dinner day one day. I'll come over. I'll cook for you. How's
I
that?
love that.
She's like, yes, please.
Please.
I wanted to do culinary. That was like my dream. But then my mother told me that I wouldn't make any money.
No, it's a horrible job.
Okay, let's jump right back into it, guys.
And that I wouldn't,
Okay, you guys are
wouldn't make
back.
any money, so I was like,
Just watching the time so we can. Earlier we're done. The earlier we can start the next one, the more time we have for lunch.
yes.
Yes. Yep.
Doing a feel good session.
Yeah. So we still have
Right.
about 40 minutes left for me to finish my session and have the debrief, but it's not going to take anywhere close to that. And then the sooner we can start hers and get out of this room and go get some fresh air, we can have a longer lunch. So let's jump right. I'll put this out just so we have some reference into our goals. So basically, the purpose of this was if you need a self-esteem boost, what's something that you can do in the next 30 seconds, just a quick thing in mind. I put the idea of complimenting myself. So the idea is if I feel like I'm having a moment and I need a quick boost, what's something I can do to help myself? What's something that if I had 30 minutes I could do? And then these are more of long-term goals. What's something that I kind of want to do to help boost my self-esteem in the next 30 days and then in the next 30 weeks? If anybody would like to share what those are, and we can kind of talk about how do you think you're going to get to those goals? Like, what do you need to support you in reaching those goals? Anyone want to share what their 30-week one was?
Their what?
30-week goal? Your big goal? A longer goal?
Mine is to spend more time with myself.
Awesome. So the next 30 weeks, that's something you would like to do, you think can help you with self-esteem? But what does that look like? How could you actually fit that into your life? It's a good question. That's why we're here to talk about it.
I think it has to do with scheduling. Like if I schedule time for myself, and it could be like going for a walk, or it could be when I go to my yoga class, but like being intentional about being like, this is the time that I'm spending just by myself.
So fitting more of those 30-minute goals into there, having more time for.
And maybe not saying yes to every single thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a really good goal. Katie, thank you for sharing.
I put to run a half marathon.
Ooh, and how are you going to prepare for that?
Well, I figure I might have more time to exercise now that I'm not writing papers and stuff. And my naturopath is on me to exercise more.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a holistic approach of if you exercise lots, you feel good mentally, you look
Yeah.
better physically. And so I put that as a 30-week goal.
Awesome. That's great. It sounds like you kind of have an idea of how you're going to reach that goal.
I'm going
Fitting in
to
more.
do like the program that shows you how you
Oh.
cumulatively
Nice.
add on to your runs. Because
Yeah.
I'm more of a 10K runner than a 22K.
22.
It's far, right?
Wow.
It's hard.
Good for you for challenging yourself.
So we'll see.
Is that something new also? Have you ever done anything like that
I've never
before?
done a marathon. I've done a 10K, but I've never done a marathon.
Okay, so that is something we talked about before about being a self-esteem building activity, was trying something new and putting yourself out there and feeling that accomplishment after. So that's like a double
Cafe
goal.
lady just was talking about her 10K, and I was like, yeah, like that was something that I was really proud when I achieved.
Yeah.
Because I just had 2 kids.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a runner, so that was a
Oh.
big step. And then now I've fallen off the running bandwagon. So watching people do the sun run this past weekend, I was like, I guess I should get back into running. Now the weather looks like it might cooperate.
Hopefully. Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to stress again that it's completely okay if nobody wants to share their goals, because I know that they can be really personal. But I don't want to open the floor if anyone else does.
For the weeks or the days?
You can honestly choose whichever one you want to share. I was focusing more on the longer ones just to kind of talk about how we can support ourselves to get to that goal, but if you wanted to share any of them.
So I have my 30-day goal is to be okay with not being perfect and to start running again. Because I had a knee injury and I haven't been able to run in a year. But I finally got an okay from my doctor. So first time I went for a run though, I was like, I mean, like 1K, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna puke. And then it was just like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do it anymore. It's not that I can't do it. It's just that like to go back and you're not as good as you were is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just going to keep pushing yourself?
Yeah, and my 30 weeks was to get out on the ocean. Because I had kayaks and surfboards and snorkeling, and I don't do any of it because I don't think I have the time.
And you have access to all that stuff back home?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So I think we have one for kayaking.
I love kayaking. I'm going Friday morning, actually, because you're going to be here. Okay. That would be cool if you were. Could have had a kayaking group. Anybody else want to share any of their goals that they had ideas for? Mine for my 30-week goal was to join some kind of new class. That's very hard where I come from. And when by class, I mean like Zumba or yoga. Very rarely do we have that, or sip and dip paint nights, things like that, places where you get to meet new people and try something new. Very rarely we have that come in, so I thought that was a really good 30-week goal, and I was thinking a way I could achieve that is to join. We have like a certain Facebook page. You want to wiggle the mouse there, Addison?
Yeah.
Thanks. We have a page on Facebook for my community where people talk about those kind of things. There you go. Good. So yeah, I thought maybe if I join that page and keep an eye out, and then if something kind of sparks my interest, just forcing myself to join it in the next 30 weeks, I think it would just be good to try to put myself out there in my own community and try some new things and support those local events that we have, because that could also promote having more things like that in my community, and I think that that's something I've always been scared to do. I haven't really tried a lot of new groups before, or try to meet new people sometimes, because I live in a small town where you kind of feel like you know everybody. So yeah, that's what I thought about for my 30-week goal. Does anyone else want to share before we wrap up? Here, your Edison? You good?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome, guys. So, quick little closing. Do we want to do a quick little go around and just say some final thoughts? Any final questions? How we feel about this activity? If it was, did you find it hard to think of goals for yourself? Or do you feel confident about some of the things that you chose?
I felt like it was difficult. It was easy to come up with 30-minute ones. I have like so many 30-minute ones, but it was harder to come up with shorter and longer ones. But I think that it's good because if I didn't think about this, then I wouldn't be intentional about it. So it's nice to like have actually took a couple minutes to think about it and write it down so that I can like remember it in the future.
Awesome.
I was the reverse. I found the long-term one easier, and I was like, what do I want to do right away? What am I going to do in like 3 weeks? And like 3 weeks seemed like too short of a time to make a self-esteem. I feel like it, because I think I look at self-esteem as a long-term approach. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's, again, in progress.
Yeah.
So I think not beating myself up if I don't end up achieving a goal. If I don't do the half marathon, that's okay, but I'll try and run more at least.
That's really awesome, Robin. I'm glad you brought that up. If I were to do another session, I think, how do we feel about not being able to achieve our goals, and what does that look like in regards to impacting our self-esteem would be a great way to take this conversation. So
But
thank you for
it's okay
sharing.
to shift a goal too, right?
Yes,
So this is a big
of
piece
course.
Of like, it doesn't have to be exactly, it could go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really powerful thing to bring up. And we'll have to shelf it due to time. But if we had more time, that would be an awesome thing to be able to go into. So thank you for bringing up that point.
Yeah, I thought it was neat and super relevant.
Yeah.
Thought-provoking, yeah.
Awesome. What time are we at? Are we at the 30?
We were at 36:23.
Okay. Yeah, I figured it was going to go a little bit over because we took a good break.
Yeah.
All right, here we go, guys. Third session. Do you feel like it was a good kind of wrap up?
I thought so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cumulative, like it went to the next.
Yeah.
It flowed.
Yeah.
You're good at this.
Thank you. I felt I didn't prepare this at all. Normally I write everything out and I think about it. I kept waking up in the middle of last night and like thinking I would like planning like, okay, I'm gonna say this, and then I fell back asleep and I don't know if I was dreaming it or if I was just waking up and being anxious and like planning it out in my head. So yeah, I had to take a risk and not really overthink it and just have a basic idea and just go in. So, and thank you to Kaden for letting me brainstorm this with you the other day when we were walking because that's where it came from.
So dirty.
It's
It's on video. Oh
What did you do?
no! She's like licking
Licking
her
her
yogurt
mouth.
container.
because it had
You know, it actually is in the screen.
You're dirty.
Got our video, we call her dirty.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
was good.
That was really good.
Yeah. And Robin definitely came up with an awesome direction there for like the next time. If I were to, I was thinking as soon as you said it, I was just like, yeah, if I were to have like, if I could have explored that thought and it wasn't for me over time, that would have been a really good direction, I think, to take the group in.
What a really cool example of how you could use some of Janet's feedback in terms of like taking one thing that somebody said and
Yeah.
like expanding it to the group.
Yeah.
She's my new favorite person.
Yeah.
But also leaving it on a positive note that, like, because sometimes people can leave a group going, okay, I've got this goal. But I think just acknowledging that it's okay either way.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a really good way to terminate is like
Yeah.
reminding people, like, be gentle with yourself. You don't
Yeah.
have to be, you know.
Yeah,
So it's great to make a goal, but like also go with it, like
yeah,
if it's support.
Yeah.
Because people believe and then it doesn't, and then they're devastated because
yeah. That's a really good point.
So
Maybe if I could have put a little bit more into that at the end about how, like my goal for this was mostly just if when we leave, where are our thoughts going to be going with self-esteem and what are we going to be trying to like incorporate into our lives from what we learned in the class or in the group, and that's what I wanted to give an opportunity to talk about. Like I wanted to share mine to kind of also give a little bit more of an example of if this is my goal, how am I going to support it? I'm going to support it by going and looking for classes, and my purpose of it is to meet new people, and that's how I want to, yeah.
I think maybe a discussion around acceptance
Yeah,
too.
that could have helped. Yeah, that definitely was a good theme that you had thrown into the mix there.
What's this?
The idea of like accepting yourself, and
Yeah, it's a hard one, I think, too, especially when you're comparing to your, like, not comparing yourself, but if you're comparing yourself to how you were,
yeah,
like Robin said, I used to run half marathons quite avidly.
yeah,
I played sports and was
Yeah.
super fit, and then I got an injury and I haven't been able to do anything.
yeah,
So to go on a run, it was super defeating to be like, oh yeah, 1K.
yeah. I think exploring
Great.
that more would have been really good. I think it's It is
don't
irritating
wanna
about the
get-
time frame and you want to be focused on.
And you don't want to delve in too deep because I think it's a really personal thing. Like I don't know if I would have been okay to explore it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm okay stating it because it's just how it is, but I don't think
Yeah.
I want to explore it.
But leaving them with some motivation, like to
Mhm.
like, yeah, you've mapped these out, like
Yeah.
being prepared that
Yeah.
because I think people could leave
Yeah.
defeated after, and you've now terminated. So
But
Yeah.
maybe setting goals that aren't so restricted, like if
Yeah.
we could talk about it. Because I realized that my goal, spend more time with self, is like
Yeah.
it's
That's a perfectly fine goal. It was kind of up. I didn't really know how to like. I just kind of came up with this quickly.
yeah.
you make a good point because they're supposed to make SMART goals, and they're like, what does SMART stand for? It's like something measurable.
Specific,
Specific.
measurable, attainable.
Whatever they are, but these goals we put on aren't really SMART goals. So they they're so
Yeah.
broad. Like spend more time.
Yeah.
There needs to be the how.
Yeah, it was supposed to. I was hoping it to be a little bit more specific in things, but the thing is that if your overall goal, that's why I said the thing about the minutes. Like if your overall goal was to spend more time with yourself, but then all the 30-minute activities were things that you could do with yourself. That's why I said your goal
Yeah,
is to
and that's
spend
what I
more of
put for my
these
30-minute
into
one.
those. Yeah.
See, I didn't feel that way at all, actually. I thought it was a really good way. Even if I never accomplished them, the fact that I wrote them down and it was like, wow, that's something I could do.
Yeah.
Like, it was it was empowering, right?
It seemed like writing things down was something I took from this group from other things you guys have done as being a powerful way for people to see
Visual.
some stuff. That
Mhm.
visual, like you incorporated it, and it was really good. Addison, you had that in one of your first session. I think you had something with writing prompts, and Kira, you had something with that. So I was kind of thinking that was always a good thing to have in. So that's why I wanted to have something like that in the session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Is that enough briefing for everybody?
Yeah, let's go
Okay.
ahead.
Let's rush it.
That's
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to stop my video for me?
I'm gonna make you guys all interpretive dance.
Oh.